of this just in. This is a breaking news bulletin from the North Pole. It appears that Santa Claus has committed suicide. And we have as our guest here tonight the psychiatrist who had been seeing Santa Claus with his assessment of what led up to this tragedy.
Well, I think that I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. I mean, the warning signs were all there. Santa Claus had become increasingly depressed, even despondent over the last several months. I think a lot of it did have to do with the lack of sunlight, with the extended darkness at the North Pole. And I think that I think there was a seasonal effect to it. But I also think that Santa just felt like he was no longer needed. He recognized that today's kids were so into the internet and into instant gratification and ordering things online and getting them instantly that nobody wanted to wait for Santa Claus to bring them something for Christmas. Everybody wanted to get on Amazon or eBay and get it right away. And he realized that was what was happening, that he felt like he was behind the times, that the world had moved past him. And of course, as you recall, a couple of years ago, all the elves went on strike, wanting higher wages, and it was getting increasingly hard for Santa to find good elves. That was getting to be extremely difficult. During his depression, Santa got to the point where he wasn't even opening most of the letters from children all over the world. There were stacks and stacks of unopened letters, and we understand, of course, that Santa also was experiencing a memory loss. Perhaps it was the beginning of dementia. He was beginning to forget things. There would be all these lists of toys that children wanted, and he'd only deliver some of them to a house. He wouldn't leave everything. He'd only leave part of it. So, did he deliberately withhold gifts from certain children, or did he simply forget? I believe he simply forgot. You've also got to remember that Santa wasn't getting any younger. He's been around a long time, and his age was catching up with him, and it was getting harder and harder for him to see at night. And during December 25th, the visibility isn't good anyway. And he was having difficulty navigating, to land on the rooftops of different houses. And I think he was getting afraid at night to travel like that with such bad visibility. Another factor, of course, was that the veterinary bills for the reindeer were getting to be so expensive. The reindeer were beginning to have a lot of medical problems, and it was costing Santa a great deal to give them the veterinary care that they needed. It was also costing a lot to feed the reindeer. That was becoming a real issue, a real problem. I think also there was the incident in Des Moines where Santa had slipped and fallen off of a roof, and as you remember, he was in a body cast for some 6 months or whatever, and I think he was beginning to get terrified of being on a rooftop. And I know that he no longer wanted to go up and down chimneys. I know that his legs were beginning to give him problems, even when he would make an appearance at one of the malls. And of course, he had a lot of doubles, a lot of lookalikes that went to the malls all over the country, but occasionally Santa himself would still make a public appearance at a mall. And it was beginning to get very, very hard on his legs for the children to sit on his knee or to sit in his lap. That was beginning to really cause wear and tear on Santa's legs. And I think he just got tired of it. I think he just got tired of all of it. He just decided to cash in his meal ticket, and he chose, suicide as the way out. Now, of course, the downside to this is that millions of children will be in mourning worldwide. And I think it'll have long-lasting impact.